Hey guys, today I'm making this super simple planter box. I just used some stencils and some scrap wood that we had laying around that was just going to get burnt in the burn pile anyway. So I am going to show you how I do it. So I'm starting off with some pre-primed scrap wood that was used on some trim that we have in the house. And I'm only cutting the lengths. So I just figured out the length that I wanted it to be, and then I worked my boards around the outer perimeter of a board, so I only ended up having to cut the lengths, not the width, so I didn't have to rip any of these boards. I'm using some wood glue to attach all of these pieces, and then I'm going to use a brad nailer to secure them. Wood glue is actually stronger than any nail or screw. The only reason I'm using the brad nailer is to hold the boards together while the glue dries. Now I'm just taking some caulk on an old gift card, or I think it's a Brookshire's card, and I'm just filling in all of the holes and all the imperfections that are on the box. I'm using it fairly sparingly. I'm scraping a lot of it off so that I'm only getting it into the low points. I'm also scraping a thin layer at the rough ends of the boards, and this is just going to save me from having to do too much sanding later. Now I'm caulking the seams inside the board so that when I water my plants, in case any water gets in there, it's not going to drip all over my counter, since this is going to be left inside and not outdoors. If this was going to be an outdoor box, I would drill several holes at the bottom of this box. Now I'm using some semi-gloss paint, and this color is in Du Jour, and I believe it's Valspar from Lowe's, and it's a great color. It's the color that we used throughout our entire house. Now keep in mind, we're going to distress this box a little bit, so it doesn't have to be perfect. There's all kinds of imperfections on this box, but I do like it to look somewhat clean and smooth. Here's our neighbor's cow who snuck onto our pasture. She likes to jump the fence and come and eat the green grass. She's too funny. Hey, pretty. All right, now I'm taking some Annie Sloan soft wax, and I'm waxing the inside of the box and the outside. We're going to do this twice because it's necessary to do this once for the technique that I'm going to show you. I did notice some more little divots from the nail holes, so I'm adding a little bit more caulk. Now I am sanding all of my edges just to make them a little bit rounded so they don't feel so sharp, and then also to make distress marks on all of the edges. Now on those edges only, I'm going to take some Early American stain from Minwax, and I'm going to rub it onto the raw edges, because remember, I sanded off the paint on all of the edges, so this stain is going to settle in those edges and give us sort of a nice distress look. Once you've got it looking the way you like, you're going to wax the entire thing again with the Annie Sloan soft wax. Now I'm just taking some stencils that I found at Walmart, and I'm going to stencil in Milk and Honey Acreage. The stencils are a little bit difficult to use with the black acrylic paint, so I did have to do a lot of cleaning up. Keep in mind, when you're using a stencil, the little gaps in the letters, you just take a brush and you fill those in so they look like seamless letters, so it doesn't look like a stencil. Also, if you like, you could scratch up over the black paint to make it look a little bit more distressed. Now I'm just taking some 6mm plastic that we use for covering our vegetable garden sometimes, and I've just cut off a small piece, and I'm going to line my box. This is just for a little bit of added protection from water. Once I've got it all in there, I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'll add a little bit of tape on the inside just to hold the plastic to the shape of the box. I found these shorter red tulips at Lowe's, and the soil level on these is a little higher than my box, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take away some of the soil and expose the bulb, which is totally fine. It's totally fine if the bulb is exposed a little bit, and it's actually kind of a trendy thing now. I love using bulbs indoors for early spring, late winter, because when the flower dies back, you could just take the plant and plant it outside and they'll come back next spring. Just keep in mind that if you're going to do this, you want to plant them outside as soon as the flower is spent, because you want those leaves to still absorb more energy from the sun to energize the bulb for next year. And because you're keeping these flowers indoors, you don't want to cut any of that foliage off. And that's why the sooner the better to get it outside so it can get enough energy for next year's blooms. I'm just packing in the excess soil in between the plants so that there's no air pockets. Alright guys, that's it for this project. It was super easy to make. I hope you try it. And let me know if you have any ideas for some upgrades on this project, because I'd like to make a few more, maybe in a different style. I think some cupped hardware on the sides would look really, really cute, or even some rope as little handles on the sides would be adorable on this project. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.